welcome to The Right Asylum with Kay and Lee and Emily Walker. Today we have a special guest. We have author Sydney Aaliyah Michelle, and she is joining us from, where are you right now, Sydney?
At the moment, I'm in Dallas, Texas. I live
Okay.
close to here, yeah.
Excellent. And she is a contemporary romance author. She just released a book called Anxious Love, which is doing very well on the Amazon bestsellers charts. We're going to start with a little bit of an update with what's going on in our writing lives. Would you like to start, Emily? What's going on with you lately?
Sure. So this week I am vigorously writing the first in my Space trilogy, because my plan is to get those books at least on the way to being out before the baby gets here, and that's 3 months away.
Right.
So I have a editor deadline. I have to get it to my editor by July 23rd. So I've put myself on a schedule. So hopefully I'll be getting that done. My dog is like rolling around in the sheets and knocking the laptop everywhere. And then I have a short coming out soon. It was part of the Obsidian collection, which we did a long time ago. It was a group of authors who all wrote a story in kind of the same theme. So I'm going to be releasing Obsidian BB here shortly. I don't actually have like a date. It's probably just going to be one of those off-the-cuff things. But that's what I'm working on now. What are you working on, Kenya?
Awesome. Well, this month has been really crazy. I had 2 releases. The sequel to my Eura Chronicles, Night of the Storm, came out the 22nd, and I also released Spellslinger, part of the Skeleton Key world. And, they both did pretty well. They both made #1 in their categories. And I'm pretty excited because I've been waiting for Night of the Storm for a long time. And I promise not to make fans wait for the 3rd one much longer. I should have that in August. So that's what's new for me right now. There's a lot going on. I'm part of the Laguna Beach in the World with Kara Rhoda. She's launching on July 7th, so one of my books will also be included in that. It's called Lost in Laguna. It's my 2nd contemporary romance, and I'm really excited about it. What about you, Sydney? You just had a big release. It's doing well. Is there anything else going on with you in the writing or publishing world?
So, like this summer, I'm calling it the summer of writing because I have a goal to finish the first draft of 2 full lengths and 3 novellas by the end of August.
Wow.
It's really ambitious for me because I tend to write a little slower than that. But I've gotten one novella at 70,000 words, or novel at 70,000 words. I've got 15,000 words on the first novella. It's also the first time that I'm writing kind of 2 things at the same time, which I never do. But these really need to get out. The novel is called Salvage Him, which is sort of a dark contemporary romance. It's also the start of a series I'm working on called the Highland Park Chronicles. Highland Park is actually a really affluent neighborhood here in Dallas, Texas. And there's a lot of stuff going on underneath the, prim and properness of it that I'm kind of exploring. So I'm excited about that. And then the novellas are, I'm involved in 3 anthologies, Romancing Wine, Spicy Christmas, and a follow-up to Pets and Kisses for early next year. So I'm trying to get all 3 of those done this summer as well.
That's awesome. And I totally forgot to mention that. We were both in Romancing the Wine. And
That's
I'm
right.
super excited. Yeah. There's so many projects going on that it's hard to keep them all in track.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's going to be super fun. I'm really excited about that. But Yeah, your Highland Park series. I can't wait to get into that one.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. I've never written a story in Dallas, and this is where I'm from. I'm not born, but grown up and raised here. And there's all these really cool neighborhoods that you wouldn't think in Dallas. It's like I grew up north, which is like upper middle class. There's Highland Park, which is wealthy. Then there's other like kind of eclectic neighborhoods that are popping up lately too, like Uptown. So I might get into that in the future because it's kind of fun writing about your hometown.
That is fun. So many prospects. That's awesome. So do you live in Texas now?
I do live in Texas now. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm sorry.
I've moved away and come back 6 different times since I graduated from college. So I always leave, but I always come back.
Oh, lovely. And you used to live in China, right?
I did. I lived in China for 5.5 years. I lived in like the middle of China. Really, the only place that the people spoke English was on the little resort that I lived on. Other than that, it was I call it completely China.
Yeah.
Nobody spoke English. It was a completely different way of life. I've traveled a lot, in my years, but this was the most foreign place I've ever been to. It was quite an experience, but I'm glad I did it. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Asia is a lot of fun. I've never been to China. I've always wanted to. I spent some time in Korea and had the same kind of, no one speaks English but the children. But the children on the street, they want to practice their English. But yeah, Asia is so close to my heart. Like the people are so friendly and so open. Is it the same in China?
It is, and I felt like a rock star there everywhere I went. So it was really cool because they're really, really sweet people. They're really curious. It's kind of funny because the only time you would see Americans there, they assume that you have to be either you're a student teaching English or you're very, very wealthy. And so it was kind of funny. I was like, no, I'm not wealthy. I can't just buy everything. I actually worked there for a golf academy. They're really big into golf there. So a woman I worked for, she was a professional golfer, turned into a golf instructor, and they gave her this opportunity to open her own academy. And I went and helped her run it. So it was kind of neat to be in that, get to see kind of both sides of the world, the very, very wealthy people there, and then the very, very poor people. And it was a great experience.
Yeah, I love that. So you play golf?
I do play golf, yes. I love golf. I don't play as much here because it's too hot in Texas. Especially right now, but yeah, I love it.
Emily and I are in North Carolina, and it's been really hot here too. I don't know about where you are because you're in the mountains, Emily.
No, for the mountains, it was 90 degrees yesterday.
Oh,
and
okay.
honestly, that is hot for here. So definitely hot. Yeah.
Well, who designs your covers, Sydney? Do you like to call Sydney or Aaliyah or Michelle?
Sydney's fine. Sydney or Sam, actually. Some people have been catching up on this SAM, Michelle, Sam.
That's
and
cute.
When I get tired, that's what I sign photographs. That works too. I actually have Rebecca Berto at Berto Designs. She designs my covers. She is amazing. She's really imaginative, and she just takes my vision because I'm kind of anal about it. I have a really good idea what my cover should look like, and she makes them completely better. She's so much fun to work with too. She's really responsive. So that's for life.
That's a mark of a good cover designer that can take your vision and make it better.
Exactly.
I love that. What do you do when you experience writer's block? Or do you experience writer's block?
I always get this question, and I think people are going to hate me because I don't.
That's good.
so many ideas running around in my head, and even if they don't come to be like full-length novels or stories, I still get the ideas out. And I'm also one of those people who let's say I've been writing since 2013. I've probably written 2 full-length novels each year that will never see the light of day. And it's sort of like these practice novels. I actually end up pulling scenes from them or ideas from them. And so like I don't ever have in my mentality that I have to publish whatever I'm writing at the moment. And it helps. It relieves a lot of stress in my brain. I see that changing because I'm getting a lot more into doing series and longer series. But still I have to have that kind of like freedom in my head. Like, okay, if this one doesn't completely come out into a full-length novel that people are going to see someday, that's okay. We're okay. We still got plenty of time.
Yeah, that's good. That is very freeing. Do you outline?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm really anal in my life at all times. So it's like I couldn't imagine not bringing that into my writing world. And I have to have an idea of where I'm going in my stories. Like the writing part is the most fun for me because I'm not like lost or stuck about where a character's going to end up and how a story's going to end.
I have totally, this year, become a total convert. I used to be such a pantser, and it would take me 6 months minimum to write a book. And now that I've got this system and this outline, it takes me like a month to write a book, and I will never go back. I agree with you. Your characters ultimately drive the story, but it's know where you're going.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Emily? I don't know. Do you outline? Oh, you do outline, right?
Yeah, I didn't used to. I used to just go, but since I've been involved, especially in all these multi-author projects that have such serious deadlines, I've been outlining and actually doing a lot of pre-writing, filling in the scenes and stuff before I even start writing. So it helps out a lot.
Yeah, it does. It definitely
For
does.
me, it's like my outlining, I do more dialogue that I like put in the little spots on my outline when I'm working on the outline for long periods of time that help. And so then it feels like I kind of have a section of it written. So it's like, okay, I got to get to that conversation and I got to get out of that conversation. So that's how you know what's coming up next.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that. That's a cool tactic. You do the same thing?
Especially if I have like a joke or something that I come up with.
Exactly.
I'll make sure to write that in so I don't forget it, because I will forget it if I don't. Exactly. So I have to use that joke or that conversation. I will write it in the outline.
Oh, nice. Mine tends to be driven toward, how do I get to that next action scene?
Yeah.
When is that coming up? Yeah. So do you?
Oh, sorry.
No,
I've been focused a lot. I've been focused a lot lately on like the ending of a chapter. Like, is it enough to want to go to the next chapter? Good. I've been focused on that in my outlines as well. Like, what happens at the end of this chapter that's not gonna let somebody put the book down? Like, they have to read. So I've been trying to focus on keeping it a page turner, keeping it engaging. I haven't really focused on that before.
Yeah, that's pretty important. I've been doing the same. It's a good idea to grip them first line and last line.
Yeah.
Definitely. So they're up into the late hours trying to finish the book. So do you mostly write contemporary romance? Have you, are you going to try any other genres, or is that your sweet spot?
Well, contemporary romance is my sweet spot. I started like new adult romance, and I kind of aged up my characters from there. Now they're hovering around that like 25 to 30 range. I would love to write like a fantasy or or even like a thriller, which I think you can do a lot of great romantic elements in both those. That whole world building thing freaks me out. Like creating this whole other world, and I see people who do it, and I'm like, I'm envious of you guys because I think it's amazing. But I don't see me going into anything like that anytime soon.
Yeah.
I may try it, but we'll see.
That's so funny you say that, because for us fantasy authors, we're like the flip side. Like we are like, we love our world building, and that's where we like just feel super comfortable. When we try to write that strict romance and contemporary romance, that's harder for us than world building, because like there are rules and parameters. There's not going to be any evil or any, creatures or magic to help us out.
Yeah.
So I feel like the romance authors, I really envy you guys.
Yeah.
I just started getting into it, and I'm like, I love it. It's so much fun. Yeah, dealing with, human emotions and love and romance. It's pretty awesome. That brings me to my next question. A lot of your reviews love the love scenes in your book. How do you approach a love scene? Do you blush a little bit when you when you think about your reader reading your love scene?
I don't worry about my reader. I do worry about my mother, which is I like try and put it out of my mind. Honestly, it's like the first word in anxious love is a cuss word, and I like sort of just don't read it. Just because if you start off there, you're just not going to get to it anyway. I tend to like write my scenes very explicit, very clinical, very kind of this happens, this happens, this happens. And then I go back in and I take out a lot of the words. I put in more euphemisms. I put the emotion into it. But like my main thing is I want to make sure that what I'm writing about actually is physically possible. If that makes sense. I mean, I want to make sure, can they do that? And can they move from this position to that position, or this this moment to the next moment? It's like I've seen some books out there. I'm like, you can't do that. I'm sorry. No matter how hard you try. So I do try that. But yeah, I kind of go from the list. This has happened, this happened. And then I go back in and put emotions and how characters are feeling. And I love writing guys in sex scenes because, they don't really feel a lot and they're okay with it. They're just like, yes, it feels good, or no, it doesn't feel good. So those are the fun things for me.
Yeah, that's it. That's awesome. Your love scenes are beautifully written. So you could tell that you put a lot of care and thought into them, which is appreciated by the reader. And I can totally relate to you. I don't know enough if I want my mother to ever read the one romance novel that I have. I kind of glossed over it when I was talking to she heard about it, and I was like, yeah, it's just a book I wrote. What else is going on in your life?
The club. My mom read my club book, and I was like, oh God. I was like, I'm just gonna tell you, it gets a little more than you're used to in your romance novels. And she downloaded it on my father's Kindle, so I was like, oh God.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So it's so funny. It's like I actually wrote a sweet romance for this Valentine's anthology last year. And that's harder to me than writing one with a sex scene. It was like, I was like, I can't say that. And how do they know that they're there? So that one was kind of a challenge.
It's true. Funny. Have you ever co-written anything with anyone, or are your books just you?
All my books are me. I don't know if I could do a co-write. I think I'm a little too
you want to be in control.
I am, yeah. I mean, my mind's a little bit too regimented and made up about like what I want to write about. And also the whole thing about what if we don't have the same work ethic? You know, not saying like mine is great. Like I'm the one that would probably be I'll get to it, or, you know, I won't have chapters for a whole 2 months maybe, but we'll do it all in the last week. And I can see somebody getting frustrated with me on that. But yeah, I haven't done it yet. I'm open to it though, but just haven't done it yet.
Neither have I, but Emily and I have just started getting into the whole co-author thing. It seems to be really popular right now, and it's very intriguing, and it'll be a good experiment. I am the same way. I'm very controlling, and every time, all throughout my life, like every time there's like a group project or a partner, I always end up doing everything, no matter what. So it really depends on who you choose to write with, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure
I've had some that were like they would switch off chapters, so it wouldn't really be a collaboration on everything, but like they each got really good freedom with their chapter that they had or their character that they were writing. And I've seen some of those. They look like they've come off. It shows on the page that they were done pretty smoothly.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I don't know. I have to figure that one out. So you'd have to be the right person to work with.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing, I think. What were you going to say, Emily?
I was going to say, I'm currently writing with 4 different people.
Oh my God.
But I've had some in the past that haven't worked out. The 4 people that I'm writing with right now, every single one of them is different as far as their style, the time it takes, like how they write, everything is different. So it's interesting when you write so many things at one time with other people. But we definitely drive each other to keep going and keep working. One of my friends, Lachelle, we work every day on our book. So like we make sure every single day we at least do some words or talk about it or something like that. And I think that that's good for accountability when you're writing with somebody else, especially if you set a deadline. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, you definitely have to have all your expectations and concerns addressed prior to starting the project. So that's great for you, Emily. That's impressive. 4 co-writing at one time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So how do you feel, a lot of your books are interracial romance. How do you feel like they fit into, you know, the indie world? I think that you're doing very well, and, you know, with your genre. And do you feel like there's any, you know, I know when we first started working together, you mentioned someone didn't feel like they could take on the project because of what it was about, and I was like, that's insane.
Right.
Look at you right now, you're still hovering in the top 20 of your categories, and super proud of you about that. And, you know, how do you feel about that?
Well, so my first novel was a sports romance, but it wasn't interracial. And so this group that I was with, they, you know, promoted then. It did very well, especially for a debut novel. And then the second one, I mean, I felt more comfortable writing the interracial romance. And they said they didn't know how to sell it. And I understand that. I mean, that was 2 years ago. It was, you know, pretty new. I mean, it's not a new genre because I've been reading interracial romance books forever, but maybe in the indie world, you know, it took a little bit of time to catch up. Now, especially on Facebook, I've just found this group of rabid fans on interracial romance that is just like so amazing to see. And it's been great now. And I do think it took me a minute to kind of accept that that's what I wrote. You know, I write interracial sports romance, you know, even though I want to like get into a bunch of other stuff, and I will, that's really just what I write right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, part of some things that I've done with this launch, my launch team, and then, you know, hooking up with you, Kenya, and the BookNet PR. I mean, this has been my best release. I've completely sold it as an interracial sports romance, and you can't hide it. It's in there. And it's been amazing. I'm really proud about what I did with this book and how far it's gone and, how well it's doing. And I'm excited to, keep writing like this and promoting like this and seeing how far it go. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so exciting. And I'm so, so proud of you. Like, you've been doing amazing. And yeah. And I was so happy when you wrote me and, and told me about the, the whole thing. And because I write interracial as well. Like, every project I tackle, I try to stray from, I try to have some diversity. Like, my main series is interracial. It's Asian and Caucasian. But I like every series, I'm like, who can I tackle next? Which race?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, it's so exciting. There's so many possibilities. And I get so many, so much fan mail about it, like from different girls. Yeah. So happy that someone is representing them and that it's doing well and it's an inspiration. Do you get mail like that?
Oh yeah, I do all the time. And they're like, I get a lot of people. It's like, everybody writes romance, but I'm so glad you found to do it in a different way. And it's like new. It's a new take on it, and that's like the greatest praise in the world is that you're doing something different and people still love it.
It is.
My Romancing the Wine book is actually a black guy, white girl, which is the first one I've written like that, which I thought was kind of funny. So it's really, I'm like channeling my brothers. I've got 2 older brothers, and they're like right in this guy's wheelhouse. So I'm excited about that one. But yeah, I want to take on I have so much, like experience in Asian stuff. I'd love to write an Asian character.
Yeah, my Koa character was totally a tribute to my Korean experience. Like, I was like, I'm going to make a Korean superhero. It was a lot of fun. So yes, now we are going to get to the closing remarks of our show. Let's talk about a writing, publishing, or marketing tip. Do you have one, Emily?
So as far as writing, I've been using Scrivener, which we've talked about on the show before.
Yay!
Going back to the scenes and the dialogue and all that stuff and how you can add so much in there, I just suggest writing as much about the world, the characters, even if you don't use like what their like you can write out a whole character sheet about their former life and you just know that. It helps you write the character better even if you don't use that in the story. So I think that I'm getting more into pre-writing, and I think it's good for other people when they're planning out their novels. They want to be a planner. They don't want to just pants it. To really get into who their character is and what their motivation is, and just kind of dive into that a little bit more.
Cool.
Excellent. I'm still trying to learn Scrivener. So I envy you guys that understand how it works.
Hey, I took a class, so I'm completely not above that. And there's so many hidden tricks in there that I had no clue about until I took a class.
Good idea. Do you have any writing, publishing, or marketing tips you'd like to share with the audience?
I know right now the kind of buzzword is build your list. Right. I completely agree with that. No matter how you choose to do it, just do it. But I would have to say it's one of the things I think contributed to the success of this recent release is I finally created a launch team, and there are 88 people in it, and there are 88 fans of romance writing, and they stepped up to the plate and they read my book and they left a review, and I think it directly contributed to how well it's doing and how well it continues to do, just having that immediate launch of having those reviews on my Amazon page when the book was published. So that's my big tip. Build your list.
That's a very good tip, and that is so true. It's one of the single most important things you can do for your platform, because it's like a personal invitation into their inbox, and that's what's going to help you, build your brand and ultimately get sales and everything. So good tip. My tip is one that I wrote an article about it, and I'm starting to think about how I'm going to do this more now that my child is almost 1 year old, and I'm trying to get back out there, signings and touring and everything. A few good places to do readings and signings that you don't normally think about. Of course, you have your coffee shops, you have your libraries, you have your bookstores. Bookstores are so much fun. You know, make sure you have a good presentation, a good table. You know, a table cloth. I usually just use a black tablecloth and have make sure you have stands for your books, and think about getting a banner, a long banner to stand behind you. Bring some bookmarks and some pens and some swag. Just make it so that it's a event, you know. Even if you're just sitting in the bookstore and no one knows who you are, they're going to be intrigued by your table and come by and talk to you. And just make sure you're there and have your pitch ready, your elevator pitch, you know, 2 or 3 lines that go at the top of your blurb. Make sure you know that, because I've gone to different signings and conventions, and there's sometimes authors don't even know how to talk about their book, and you want to make sure that you have that ready, because if you can't talk about your book, no one's going to be interested, and they're just going to walk away. Other good places to do readings, nursing homes, and set up outside of festivals in your town. These are all great places to, you know, maybe find some new fans that you never thought about. So that's my tip for the week. And I hope you guys can use these tips. And I hope you guys go by our website, thewrightasylum.com. I will have Ancient and all of Sydney, Aaliyah, Michelle's contact information on the website, as well as the YouTube channel. And we will see you guys on iTunes very soon.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us. You guys have a great day.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Join Kay and Lee and Emily Walker on thewrightasylum.com.